Hey friends! So I'm doing something totally out of my element tonight and I'm hoping that you're gonna love it. I am gonna do a painting of kind of like a shelf with some succulents and plants on it. So I know succulents are pretty cool and kind of in, and so I thought, hey, you know what, maybe we'll try this out and we'll see how it goes. And so you guys are just gonna go with the flow with me and we'll see how it turns out. So I would highly recommend you go get in some comfy clothes so you don't care if they get paint on them. Set up your paint surface, turn on some music, not too loud, you gotta be able to hear me, and grab a snack and a drink, right? Let's make a night of it. So make sure that you've got about an hour, 2 hours allotted. And I only say that because you may want to pause me and rewind me at any time, but make sure and watch all the way to the end. That way you can see the end result, right? So I am going to, I need to grab one more brush. There it is. All right. So we need to get our paints onto our plate, and I like to reuse plates. So I'm going to put some white paint right here in the middle. I always like to set up my white in the middle. That's how I do. I guess I should do yellow next because I kind of want to go in order so that way I don't have to clean my brush. How about some red? And I have a chunk of red already on here, so I'm just going to let that be. I'm going to grab, ooh, my brown is way messed up. That's because I don't clean my brush when I dip into my other colors. How about some purple for fun? And I have some purple already on here, but I'll add just a little bit more. And let's see, maybe some blue. We might want some blue. I'm kind of thinking I might want a soft blue background, like a periwinkle-ish background is what I'm thinking. And I'll probably need black, but I'm going to hold off on that on my plate for a minute because black dries really quick. It's very pigmented. Now, in order to clean our brush, your brush is going to become a ballerina. That's what I say to the boys at school to annoy them. You smush and swirl, though, for real. Just kind of smush and swirl. I kind of rub it on the side of my cup. Do not use your favorite cup because you will ruin it, I promise. Or make a really tough job for yourself. Wipe on the inside, just like that. And then we have to dry. So we dry our paintbrush, and I just sweep it on my napkin, just like that. Now, I do want to start with my background first. And I want it to be, I'm going to show you a cool little trick. This brush did not get cleaned out, but that's okay. If it kind of streaks my paint, I'll grab a different brush. So what I'm going to do is I want to mix some blue and purple together, but I do not want that dark of a background. So I'm going to grab a big old chunk of white, kind of mix, 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 and I am going to kind of put this on here like that, and it really went more blue, didn't it, than purple. Okay, there we go. Now, this is going to be kind of weird, but just trust me. I'm going to dip my brush in my water and smear the paint around. Whoop! By putting it all in the water, just like that. Now, if you want it to be nice and smooth, just go from one side to the other, just like that. And that will make it look nice and smooth. Okay? Now, one nice thing about sort of watering it down a little bit is it does help it to dry faster. So that's a nice little trick. Okay. Whoop. right, so I'm kind of trying to go for a little bit of an ombre feel. And it's okay to really work your paint and your canvas. Just hold on to your canvas so you don't lose control of it. It doesn't fly away on you, right? Now you don't have to paint your edges, but I just think it gives it a nice finished look if you do. So it's up to you. I'm going to kind of work this up and work it down. Now here in just a minute, I am going to put white on top of this because I want it to be softer than this. So we just streak some white right on top, just like that. Here we go. And if you don't want a nice smooth background, then you can swirl. So you can make like C's, backward C's, N's, U's, just kind of all over. And that is typically how I paint my canvases, just so I don't have to make it look nice and even and smooth and perfect. But you do you. Do what you like, what you think is going to look good. Okay? That's why I love art so much, because my way is not necessarily the right way, you know, and other artists is not necessarily the right way. Like, we all just have our own styles. So once you figure out what your style is, you can start to kind of improve it and perfect it and go from there. There we go. Awesome. Now you really, when you're blending, you really have to work your canvas. Like, it's okay to push kind of hard with your brush. And make sure that you're getting enough paint on there. You don't want to see the grooves of the canvas, if that makes sense. Okay? There we go. Just kind of work this back up. There we go. Work it, work it, work it. And I just had a thought. I bet there's no paint on the right side of this canvas. Nope, not really. Okay, so let's get us some paint on there. All right. So I mentioned earlier that I have been teaching, or that I teach at school. I have been teaching for 14 years in a classroom, and then longer than that at an art studio while I was in college. And then of course I have Artsy Rose that I've had for 5.5 years. Okay, I really want a little bit of purple in here, but I want it to be soft. So I'm going to try streaking just a little bit in there. There we go. Maybe streak just a little bit. Ooh, that was kind of dark, wasn't it? There we go. Grab a little bit more. And streak some purple in there. And so you just keep working it. Now I will say there is such a thing as overworking it. So you have to be kind of thoughtful about that, okay? You don't want to put too much on there. Because then the whole background will just kind of take over the whole picture, right? Now, if you're trying to make your background look nice and smooth, pay close attention that you really streak it all the way from one side to another. because if I streak and then I pick up my brush before I get all the way across, you're going to see that brush line where you picked it up. So make sure that you streak it all the way across, okay? And just so I don't forget, because I tend to do that, even though the top of my canvas is probably not all the way dry, I'm going to go ahead and paint the bottom of my canvas as well. There we go. There we go. All right. Now, what I kind of am envisioning is that this is just like a background, right? And then on here, I want to paint a pretty large looking shelf. And then on top of that, I want to do the succulents. You can always bust out a blow dryer. That is the absolute only reason I use a blow dryer, is to blow dry my canvases or to blow dry my doggies when they get out of the bathtub. So you could totally grab a blow dryer and blow dry your canvas. If you want to go ahead and get the background completely dry, so that way when you paint your shelf on top, it will not blend, the colors won't blend, okay? So I'm going to clean this brush out. Now, if you're a little nervous, again, blow dry your canvas or go take a dance break or a snack break and come back to it. Take a deep breath and just go with it. Okay, but you can use this big brush or blow dry it and use a pencil and then come back to it with the brush, whatever floats your boat. Okay, now my brown was pretty messed up a bit ago. Oh my gosh, it has yellow and white and black in it, and now I'm going to add some more white to it, and I'm just going to mix it completely up. There we go. Okay, it still looks pretty brown, doesn't it? Grab a little bit more white, and the reason being is because I've got this blue background and I know that my brown is a little see-through. This will help with that. So my shelf is going to be all the way down this edge. And this is my big brush, and it is basically the width of my big brush, and I know it's not very clean looking right now. We're going to get it there. So the two edges, the side of our shelf, can be the width of your big brush, and if your big brush is not as big as mine, then maybe it's the width of two of your biggest brushes, like side by side, if yours is not quite as wide as mine. Okay. Now, if you didn't know it, you can order a paint kit from me, and in the paint kit come brushes, and I guess I didn't have to paint that blue edge blue earlier because just be brown, right? There we go. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're going to go across the bottom. So we're going to do the width of one brush across the bottom. Try to make a nice straight line if you can, but it's just a little wooden shelf, and so it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna do I'm gonna do a little ledge sort of. So I'm gonna do another one and another one. So a total of 3 brush strokes wide. across the bottom. And again, if you see some little speckledy spots, that is your canvas telling you add more paint. Okay, now let's do 3 from the top so we can kind of figure out where the middle is. Okay. Okay, there's 1 and 2. And we're gonna add a lot more layers, I promise. So you just gotta believe in me, okay? Trust my process. That is one thing that a lot of times when people come into the studio, they like take their sweet time on the background and on every single step, but really the only steps that matter are the layers you put on top of your initial layers, if that makes sense. So right now we're just working on the initial layers. Okay, so if I were to guess, about the middle would probably be about here. Okay. Now, I think it needs to be a little bit wider, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the bottom of my brush in about the middle of that brush stroke, okay? And make a brush stroke across, like that. And then the same thing, the top of my brush in the middle of that initial brush stroke and make a brush stroke going across the bottom. So now, this shelf on our shelf is thicker. Okay. I get some more brown. Now I'm going to use some of this straight brown that I just got out and kind of let my brush streak down unevenly. Streak down unevenly, like, let me show you what I mean. You can see maybe the brush strokes, how they're not perfect. Some spots are darker than the others. Same thing across the bottom. 1, oh, hold on. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All the way across. And same thing here. So I like putting this little bit of darker brown on top of the lighter brown and it looking not perfect, right? Because we're kind of going for a wood feel. Okay, so now I'm going to try to scrape some of this brown out because that is a lot of brown on my brush. Let that hang out in there. I'm done with it for a while and I may be done with it for good. But now I need to separate my brown, okay? So I'm going to make one little pile there. One little pile here. This pile is going to get some yellow. A little bit more yellow. And a little bit of white. So we have a softer, I don't know, what would that be, like an oak type color, maybe? And then I'm going to use it to do some real quick sweepy brush strokes. Okay? Real quick sweepies. So I'm going, put my brush down, sweep it, pull it towards my wrist. And the reason why I pull it towards my wrist is so that it sort of feathers out at the bottom of the brush stroke. So it's a quick little sweep, 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 sweep. And we get a little bit more, and it kind of blends with the background, kind of not. There we go. And then same thing here, kind of left, right, left, right. Try to keep your brush stroke horizontal. Try not to let it go like upwards or downwards. Like try to keep your brush strokes straight horizontal. Okay? There we go. Same thing up here. And don't worry about the edges being perfect, because I think we're gonna go in with like a really dark brown and kind of clean up our edges, okay? So don't stress about your edges being perfect right now. Like this one is not perfect at all, I'll just tell you that. I know you can't tell from up there, but it's not. There we go. There we go. So there are definitely some plants that I can keep alive, and then there are some plants that, oh my gosh, I just don't know. I don't know why I struggle. And in the end, I don't know that any plants actually like live. I had a plant for a good couple of years, an indoor plant, and sadly it's not alive anymore, sadly. But all my irises out in the garden are still alive, and my rose bushes are still alive outside, so at least that's something. But indoor plants, ugh, did not work out so well. Okay, so now I am going to I'm thinking, I'm having a thought right now. Thought in my head. Okay, so now I am going to make, oh, I don't know. I feel like I need just one more pop of a little bit lighter, so I'm going to add some more white to that I just made and do just a couple quick little pops in there of that. Definitely don't worry about all. I'm going to make some of these a little crooked. Okay, like not exactly perfect, because there's just a few of these because, you know, we're trying to go for like a wood grain, right? Like we could put a little knot in it. So I make a spiral. Go. Okay. Couple little sweepy sweeps. So, totally not perfect. Gonna put a little highlight. There we go on the left side of that piece and the right side of this piece where those meet, to show that this board is going up and down and these boards are going horizontal. Okay, I know I'm still going to be using browns, but I'm getting rid of that. All right, and now I'm going to get, remember how we separated some brown out earlier? I'm going to grab just a little bit of black and mix that with my brown, and a little bit of black goes a long way. So you need to think about that. And I'll put a couple little sweeps of the dark in there, like that. And I'm just barely touching my brush to the canvas. Barely. There we go. go. All right. Now, there are a lot of wood techniques. If this just seems like too much or you don't like it, you can always just do your own thing, right? This is your painting, okay? And my way may not necessarily be the right way. It's just how I choose to do it. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get just a smidge more brown out of here. Definitely should have refilled that. And add some more black, because I am going to very carefully, and you may want to switch to a smaller brush. You don't want to use this brush. Very carefully, oh, needs to be darker. Needs to be darker. Go right down the edge of this board, and if you need to hold your breath, go for it. Barely touch that brush to the canvas. Barely touch your brush to the canvas. And like I said, if you use your baby brush, you'll have a much thinner line, which you might like better than this big bold line. And I'm actually going to draw another line kind of right here. There we go. Ooh. I am holding my brush a little further back. Normally I hold it way up here, right where the metal and the handle touch, but I'm holding it a little further back, just so I don't push so hard. Kind of get a nice line, and then we'll do one more. Right there. Maybe kind of finish it off at the top by darkening that top edge a little bit. Oh yeah, I think I like that. I might even go down this side. So I'm using the side of the bristles and just sort of gliding down the edge of the canvas like that. Okay. There we go. And again, it's okay if it looks kind of broken or rough because it's wood, right? There. Okay. That line wasn't very straight, was it? Why didn't y'all tell me? Just kidding. Just kidding. Okay. There. Now, just kind of darken up those edges a little. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, right? I think it does. Okay. Now, here's the part I'm a smidge worried about because I put this stuff on so thick. Now when I go to paint, it's, ugh. Okay, that's okay though. So I might want, let's see, let's think about some colors. We might want a, I don't know, like a light yellowy color for, keep getting notifications. I should turn those off whenever I'm doing this, huh? Okay, so what if we have a cute little pot right here? Oop, I need to add more white because that is awfully see-through. Or I might just have to add an extra layer, right? Okay, now since it's sitting on the shelf, we want it to come down some. So I'm trying to barely touch my canvas or my paintbrush to the canvas. So that way I just lay right on top of this brown paint and not cut through it. And then I'll fill it in from top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And again, if you want to go blow dry and kind of sketch this out with a pencil first, absolutely nothing wrong with that. I have been painting for a long time. I have a lot of practice, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, right? Okay. Oh, I brag on myself and then I oopsie. Okay. And again, don't like totally worry about your edges because you can always clean those up later. Now, I am going to use some more white, and I had some kind of like a lighty orange over here, but I'm going to add some more yellow, some more red, and kind of mix that up really good. And make my own sort of orangey color. It's like a, I don't know, salmon, salmon color. Okay, I might want to do this one. Trying to think. Maybe right here. And I'm going to try to do all the pots just a little bit different. Just to add some character, right? Instead of making them all the same. Bring the edge out just a little bit. There we go. Man, I'm concentrating a lot and not talking very much. I'm sorry. I am barely touching my brush to the canvas. Doing nice, smooth brush strokes all the way across horizontally with a little bit of a curve. And there we go. Instead of using the tip of my brush, I'm using the side of the bristles, so that way I just lay it right on, okay? All right, now I'm gonna jump on over here into this kind of reddish color, and I'm just gonna leave the orange in my brush because it will make like this pinky, orangey, reddish, I don't know, type color right there. And maybe put that one over here, and this little guy might be short and squatty, or like a little bowl. There. Okay. And what about, might just use the same color again right here. Just use that one again and maybe do a cylinder type. There, just kind of keep those edges straight up and down. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. Now, I know they look very blah, okay? Trust the process, trust the process. Okay. now, clean, clean, clean. If your water gets really, really yucky, you can always go back and get some fresh water. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to take a little bit of brown and mix a little bit of brown into that orangey color that we made. Okay. And I'm going to take this color and sort of, oh, not dark enough. And I am going to outline, just sort of outline around the edges, just to give it a little bit of depth, okay? And just sort of flick, 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 flick my brush across, a little bit on that side. There we go. And then I can always add a highlight in a minute on the other side, okay? And let's see, I'm going to use a little bit of this color that's in my brush, mix it into my yellow, so I kind of dirty up my yellow a little. Do the same thing, kind of blend that side a little, just like that. There we go. So see, this is making them look more interesting, right? Okay. Oh, I still need to use some of this, don't I? On this guy over here. Forgot about, he's the same color. Kind of shorter little flick, 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 flick. I'm just like set the brush down. And then set the brush down, flick over, flick over, flick over, flick over, flick over, flick over. Okay? All right, now to deepen up this red, I am going to grab the tiniest amount of turquoise, mix that in. I left all that kind of dirty brownish color in my brush, and we'll just sweep that across. Like that. There we go. Okay. Wash my brush out, dry, dry, dry. Now I'm going to take a little bit of white and just add some shine. Kind of shine up the other side, right? So if you have a shadow on one side, you can put a shine on the other side. There we go. And same thing, do a little curve around and then shine it up. And go down the edge. Okay, and then follow the top, follow the right, and then flick that brush across. So that whole flicking motion takes a lot of practice, but I believe in you. Okay. Now, whew, okay, one of these could have, I'm trying to think here how I want to do this. Okay, this guy is going to have, we're going to start out with some regular green, and then of course that's not going to be good enough for me, so I'm going to teach y'all some tricks, but we're going to do a major frowny face inside of this pot. Okay? Just get all that green filled in. Okay, now I'm going to take some yellow. There's nowhere to grab my plate. And I'm going to mix some yellow and green together so I get more of a lime green. And then I could even grab, if I even have any, some white and mix that in. So a lot of yellow, little bit of green, chunk of white. There we go. Oh yeah, I like that color better. And actually, you know what? I think I want him to look kind of rough. So I'm going to dab my brush. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Just like that. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, now remember how we have all the highlights on the right and the shadows on the left? I'm going to go back and grab some regular green and dab regular green on the left side. Just like that. And once I get this as dark as I want it over here, then as I slowly dab, 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 move my way over to the other side, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, like that, okay? And then if it just got too dark, I can rub off some of that green on my napkin, grab some more of the light, and put some more light back on top. So like if you feel like you lost too much of the light, you can do that, okay? That's just kind of fun. Yeah. And we're going to go back and add spikes and stuff here in a minute. Okay. So there's one cactus. Now, what about, let's see. Let's mix some turquoise and green. Oh, a little bit more green. Kind of make our own color. Now, if you're making your own colors, make sure you make enough to fill a whole space, right? Okay, so this one, I think I'm gonna do the kind that look like curve up, down, up, down. So I'm basically making what looks like really skinny triangles, kind of. Okay. There we go. Now, so it doesn't look so flat like it does right now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a thing. Okay, I'm going to grab some white and I'm going to make a lighter version right over here on the side. Make a lighter version and hit either the right or the top. So the right or the top. And then, so I'm going to scrape this out if I can. Scrape it out. I'm going to grab some red, which is green's complement. And I'm going to mix it over here on the other side of that color I just made. And I am going to use this color and hit the bottoms, if you can. And the top and the bottom may then kind of blend together. And that's okay. If you sort of lose your base color, that's okay. Don't worry about it. We don't worry when it comes to painting, right? We just have fun. You can always put the base color back on there. Cool. Okay. Now, okay. Let's think of another green. I kind of like that dark green, so I think I'm going to make more of it. So turquoise, green, mix, and then add a little bit of red at a time until you like it. Okay, red and green are complementary colors. They're across from each other on the color wheel. You can use green to darken red and use red to darken green. Just a cool little trick. Okay, so this guy is going to start out kind of skinny like that, but now we are going to kind of curve the bottom like that. Let's fill it in. All the way from the top to the bottom to fill it in. Okay, now we're going to do little spikies sticking off of it. I don't want to touch this one. No way, Jose. Right? No way, Jose. Kind of smooth those out maybe a little. Okay, make those a little bit more diagonal on this side. There we go. Okay, kind of spike it all the way up to the top. Let me show you up close. Okay, and then we're going to do the exact same thing that we did on that one. Okay, so I'm going to add some white. Man, I'm running out of white. And this time, real quick though, we are going to make some ridges that go down. Just like that. And then we'll hit, what do we say, the rights and the tops. So that little bitty right top right up there, just like that. Okay, then I'll scrape the light off, add more red to some of it to darken it up even more. Not even sure that was enough. There we go. And kind of hit the bottoms. Okay, kind of go by these little wiggly grooves that we made. There we go. Okay. So that is that funky guy. Funky guy. Funky guy. Okay. This is so fun. Like I said, this is a new experience for me, but kind of digging it, stretching out of my comfort zone here. Okay, now this one, let's see, let's do more of that limey green, I think. So some more yellow, some more green, and then of course some more white, if I can get any. Okay, get just a little bit more white. Man, I hate dipping my, that's okay. Okay, mix that in there. All right, now roll my brush to get all the extra off. You maybe want to use a small brush for this. We're gonna have kind of there, there, maybe there, kind of hanging down there. And then maybe growing off of there. Okay. Now on here, I guess we'll have to work the top of this pot a little bit more, won't we? That's okay though. Okay. Now we are just going to kind of smush our brush down. Smush, smush, and make like these little leaf looking things by using the side of our bristles and just sort of smushing the brush down. Okay. And we smush, 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 smush. There we go. All right, all right, all right, all right. And we'll do this one. And then of course we have to add some highlights and shadows. Even though they're little, we can do it. There we go. All right. Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay. Let's put little touches of white either on the right side. Here, let me show you up close real quick. Cute. So remember, right side is where the highlights go. So I'm just basically just putting a little dab of white, but because I put the green on so thick, it's blending and kind of making a light green. Okay, and then I'll grab some of the darker green and kind of put a little dab of that on. It's not the darker green, it's the original green before I added white to it. That green that we mixed yellow and a little bit of white into. So it's that green. It's the one that we did down there. It's going on the opposite side of where you put your highlight. go. There we go. We're getting there. This one's a lot of brush strokes, isn't it? It's a lot of little leaves, but looks so cute. Okay, now I feel like I kind of need to go, at least in part of it, kind of go back over that middle vine that goes through it. Just to sort of redefine that, even if you don't totally touch your brush down the whole time, like that. Oh my gosh, I'm in love, guys. Totally in love. There we go. Okay, so now kind of feel like we need a little something right there, don't y'all? I think I'm gonna do a little look-alike of that pot and overlap them. And we gotta add a little bit of that brownie color in there, right? A little bit of that right there on the edge. And come on. There, and then a little bit of the highlight on the other side. There we go. Okay. And then we can put a little plant. Maybe put that same one. What do y'all think? Okay. There we go. And we gotta dabby 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 it. Right? Dab, 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 dab. Yeah. Don't dab on your pot. There. And we got to go back and add a little bit of dark. Remember, on the left side. And a little bit of light. I might even do just straight yellow on the right side. Ooh, gotta be careful. Okay. There we go. Come on. This is being ornery. Okay. Okay. So now I want to add some spikes, right? Some little pokies. Okay, so I am, let's see, I think I want to do dark green first with my pokies. So I'll use one of my dark greens. And I'm trying to think the best way, I think, is just going to be just a like boop, 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 kind of make them go different directions. Don't you think? There, like that. And then this little guy gets pokies too, but I don't know, he might be too wet still to get pokies. So he gets some pokies. Okay, and I might, right down in here, I need to add a little bit of dirt in there, right, in this pot. try to right in here. There we go, just put a little bit of dirt in there. So basically what I'm doing is I'm making the other side of the pot so it's curved the opposite direction. This side is a smiley face curve, that side is a kind of frowny face curve, okay? Same thing, we can see just a little bit of this right here, so put just a little bit of dirt in that pot. Maybe a smidge right over in the edge, over there. Okay, nice. So now I want to take some of this dark brown, and with my baby brush, I'm going to put just a little, almost like a broken outline. Doesn't even need to be perfect, but I just feel like we need just a little bit of definition on all of our little pots. So this creates a little definition. Doesn't have to be a perfect outline, doesn't even have to be right on the edge. It can even be a little bit broken looking. I'll show you. And remember, you could totally have paused me at any time or rewind. Totally cool with that. There we go. And down here. There we go. There. OMG. Oh my gosh. I am so in love with this painting. I am kind of proud of myself right now. Okay. On these darker under edges, I'm going to add just a little bit. This is just that really, really dark brown that we used on our wood earlier. That's all it is. But by adding pops of this just here and there in places, it's going to bring some unity to the whole painting. So since we have it all around the edge, and now I've put it on the edge of the pots, now if I just put little pops of it here and there on my plants, that will help kind of bring some unity, like I was saying, to the pot. And then of course we have some of the dark, to the whole painting. So we've got some of the dark in our, there we go. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do, because we have pops of dark, what if we added pops of light? So we do just little pops of white here and there. Just like that, little. There we go. Okay, so we can put little bits in there of the white in places, and that cleans everything up, I think. It's kind of my style though. Like I said, the more you paint will kind of develop your style, and you'll see what you like, what you don't like, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And you'll start putting things in your art that are just sort of signatures to you. And me personally, I like having highlights in all of my art. I like having shadows. I like having lots of layers of colors. So that's kind of my style. So you guys will sort of start to create your own style as you go. You could even sort of sneak your initials in there in the wood if you wanted to with some brown. But this, my friends, I am so excited, is my very first succulent on a shelf type painting. I have other succulent paintings, but this is my first one on a little wood shelf. So I loved doing this with you and experiencing a first. I hope that you had a good time. I hope that you were able to just relax and enjoy the process. And I hope that you trusted me, because there for a bit, I was kind of like, oh, does she even know? But look what we turned out with. So please, please, please comment below. Show me your pictures. Subscribe, like, share. And you know what? If you want me to paint you one, I'll be happy to paint you one. You can buy one from me. Just like these guys over here are part of a kit. So you can order a llama kit or a Red Barn kit. I do pre-draw those out ahead of time for you, whereas this was totally blank. Or I could paint you one of those as well, and you can buy it already painted. So I had such a great time, and thank you so much for letting me into your homes and for sharing some time with me, and I cannot wait to see what you came up with, and of course, I can't wait to paint with you again. Have a great day, guys.